Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majestic back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Weather Studios with the Weather Report, the North Georgia edition, exclusively for you Facebook subscribers and YouTube members here on your Friday the 13th, March 13th, 2026. It also happens to be Free Sampler Friday, so everybody gets a chance to take a look at the report and consider becoming a potential Facebook subscriber or YouTube member and help support our efforts to build a 24-hour weather channel here in North Georgia. Okay, we got a lot to get into for this report. Now, today is looking pretty good. I hope you get outside and enjoy some great sunshine. Temperatures are going to feel great. Saturday's looking even better, but boy, we got the storm system coming in on early next week, and it's a humdinger of one looking like it's coming through the area, and some winter precipitation potentially with some of this. I'm not expecting significant, but it's there. Maybe some thunderstorms, and boy, is it going to be really cold there on St. Patrick's Day. I had some people who were harassing me about a week ago when I was saying, yeah, it looked like St. Patrick's Day was going to be really, really cold. They were saying, you don't know, it's too far out. Well, looks like it's going to verify, my friend, looking very likely. So anyway, you can take a look at there, Dalton, Brazelton, Blairsville, Dahlonega, a gorgeous sunrise, people getting out and about here for today. We'll take a look at some of these cameras around the area here for this morning. Brasstown Ball checking in at 23 degrees. A lot of clear skies up there for this morning, looking very nice indeed. Let's check out over to Helen. Helen's checking in at 32 degrees as folks are getting out and about there. And check out this view in Athens this morning, looking very nice indeed. A beautiful sunrise there on the UGA campus to start our morning out there. Temperature-wise is what we're seeing out there right now. We got high pressure and control out there with our weather. We got a cold spot up there. It's 28 degrees up there in Blairsville. It's 38 degrees down to the lake in Gainesville, but 30 over there in LJ. It is, very cold, pretty frosty out there, but the sunshine's going to warm things up here nicely for this afternoon. Nothing on the watches and warnings to worry about. Everything looking pretty good there and pretty quiet on that front here for the moment. It's what we're going to see as we go into day 3. Going into the weekend, we got to see what's going on. We got a very vigorous, strong jet stream that's going to be blowing in. Now, we're not going to have a lot of instability. That's heat, warm air out ahead of this thing coming in. But, boy, it's got some very strong dynamics. And as a result, here you notice across extreme northwestern portions of Georgia, we do have a marginal risk of weather. And this is going to change, folks. We'll have to watch this closely through the weekend. Look at that. Even got an enhanced area up here into the heading into the Ohio River Valley. So very strong jet stream is going to be driving the system. This is some very cold air kind of dumps down to the area. So this is going into Sunday night. So, again, weekend, Friday, Saturday looking good. Sunday's not looking as great. So Saturday's definitely the best of the 2 days, which I know a lot of St. Patrick's Day events are going on Saturday because, of course, St. Patrick's Day falls on a Tuesday, so a lot of stuff happens the weekend prior. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the model data, okay? The latest one I just posted on Facebook, and I'm just going to share it here. This is the NAM, this is our 6C intermediate model. And what this is basically telling us is that this is some very cold air that's going to rush in here very fast. Now, today is looking great. No problems on your Friday. No problems on your Saturday. And as we go into Sunday, watch what happens on Sunday. We're going to get some moisture in here. You notice by, looking at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, get a little bit of moisture trying to tractor back in here. Some clouds, some rain. Here comes the cold front, okay? This cold air is right on this precipitation heels, and it's undercutting it bad. So look what happens as we get into your Monday afternoon. So what's going to happen here, our high on Monday is going to be fairly early. Look at this. We're getting this sleet and snow showing up in here. So what that means is that it's that heavy cold air is just undercutting it on the bottom of this thing. And you might see some sleet and some light snow as this passes on through. Again, we've been way too warm. No accumulations expected with this. It's just what I'm saying is you might see a little bit of a wintry mix going into late in the day on Monday. So not a big deal, but it does illustrate the point of just how cold we're going to be going into Tuesday. I don't think we get out of the 40s for a lot of folks in the mountain areas. Maybe not even get out of the 30s for highs going into Tuesday. So getting to be quite cold, quite nippy. Get that firewood ready one last time for the weekend. Here's the rainfall amounts coming in here on the NAM. It's pretty aggressive here with the rain totals up over an inch. Here got some inch totals in here. I'd say probably about a half inch. Looks reasonable here across a lot of North Georgia. Now, today's forecast highs, we're looking at 60s today. Maybe so a few 50s up in the mountains, but generally 60s, I think, for this afternoon. Looking very nice indeed. Morning lows going forward tomorrow, not going to be quite as bad. Seeing 40s out there tomorrow morning, so not as nippy. It'll warm up a little bit. And then your Saturday afternoon highs, Again, we're seeing the 70s back in here again. So again, Saturday's looking absolutely gorgeous. I know I'm going to be checking out our St. Patrick's Day stuff down there at Chateau Lawn on Saturday before I go into work. I got to work at Fox this weekend, but I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Now let's talk about this jet stream. I want to talk about this big storm that's coming at us here, and this thing really does mean business. Watch this big dip coming here as I have this into motion here, and this is coming into your Monday, boy. I mean, this is a very steep jet stream. You got what we call a divergence flow, which is the air separating like this, and what that means, it adds to the wind shear. I'm very grateful that we're not going to be too terribly warm, because the tornado risk on this, I think, is going to be pretty high. That's where that enhanced area was. Up in here, I think they're going to be looking at some serious potential for some tornadoes up this way, with a very strong jet stream moving on in there. And then this is going to bring in the cold air behind it. All right, so we're going to be very cold going into Tuesday. It lifts out. Looks like another little reinforcing shock coming down there toward the end there. Look at this big high pressure. It's going to be a big old heat dome out there in the west. It's going to set some record highs out there next week on this thing. Looks like we got one little shot coming down here as we go toward the going into the following weekend, going into the 22nd and 23rd. So we got one more cold shot there, cooler shot, and then it looks like we're going to warm up big time. That high because they're shipped off to the west. Yeah, we know what that means. That means things are going to be getting real warm again as we head toward the 26th, toward the end of the month. So looks like two different cold shots, and then a big time warm up expected here as we go toward the end of the month. All right, now let's go take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. This thing shows up, this storm shows up very nicely here on this storm. I mean, you see that kind of dig and that kind of dump there. That is a significant storm right there, my friend. And that's what's going to be moving on in across the area. It's going to bring in the cold air behind it. Look at that big old heat dome out in the west. Wow, they're going to be very warm out there in the west. And that thing's going to kind of sit there. And then eventually, there's that one more shot. There's that one more shot there across the northeast. We saw that a lot during the winter. And then this high is going to begin to shift and move in our direction. So that's why things are looking right now. Go ahead and take a look at the precipitation. Here's the European. Now, the European's not as gung-ho as far as the undercutting that cold air and squeezing out the mixed precipitation. It's a little bit. You see a little bit of snow, a little blue in here, showing up here across Alabama, Tennessee. Again, I mentioned yesterday, it wouldn't surprise me to see some flurries across North Georgia. This thing squeezes on in into Monday, but very nippy. The freezing line way down to the south, so it's going to be quite cold going into Tuesday. And then we'll see things begin to warm up. It'll stay cool into Tuesday and Wednesday. And there's a little disturbance going up to the north there. Coming out on Thursday, maybe a few clouds with that one. And then looking pretty good. And then we got another cold front coming down here. This will be a backdoor front here. See that freezing line coming back down here toward the Carolinas. So a little bit of a wedge setting up there going into the following week there. And then we should warm up big time. But the one thing you'll notice is there's not a whole lot of precipitation. It is very lacking here over the next 10 days. In fact, not a whole lot of precipitation. This is a 10-day outlook here across the southeast. So it looks like a very dry weather pattern coming in once we say goodbye to this storm system coming in for this upcoming weekend. So let's go take a look at those temperatures. Here is your Sunday morning highs, Sunday day highs, again, 60s and 70s, still on the warm side there on Sunday. But here comes that cold front. Shows up so nicely. Look at that. Very nice as it's diving down here toward us here. It's going to move on through the area. So, again, look what the temperatures here at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're sitting in the 60s here. Here comes the temperatures. Look what happens as we go into the afternoon here. I mean, we're talking temperatures falling here. By the time we get 7 o'clock, we're at 30, 36, 39, 39. So, again, very cold. That's why, again, we see a little sleet mixed in, but the temperatures are going to not be warm enough to support any kind of accumulations. I'm not expecting that at all. Just a little bit of wintry mix with this thing moves on in. And then look what the lows are doing here for Tuesday morning. We're in the 20s all the way down to Metro Atlanta, 24, 27, 28, 29, very cold. You figure in a little bit of wind chill there, and you're looking at 12, 16, 19. Yeah, it's going to be really nippy there on your Tuesday morning, to say the least. And then it's going to stay cold Tuesday, folks. It's this is your 5 o'clock temperature in 30s and 40s still on Tuesday. So quite cold there on Tuesday. And then as we go into your Wednesday morning, again back in the 20s once again on Wednesday. And then we're going to start see things begin to recover a little bit. Here's your Wednesday afternoon temperatures back in the 50s here and some 40s. And then going into your Thursday morning in the 30s still, but not quite as cold. Obviously, think about it, the 20s there. And then going to your Thursday next week, we're back in the 60s. And then finally checking out Friday next week, 40s for lows, and then daytime highs back in the 70s by the end of next week. So, again, big roller coaster ride here with our temperatures, to say the least. Your body's going to not know what direction you're going. So the outlook here for next week, it averages out to be basically normal. So this is from the 18th to the 22nd. It kind of misses the two coldest days in there, but normal. Then we go to well above normal as that big high we saw begins to shift to the east as things will warm up. But one thing's for certain, boy, it is dry as a bone for the second half of the month. So whatever rains we've gotten here after this upcoming rain event, that's going to probably be about it here for a little while. And that will continue straight in through the 20th to the 26th, almost getting toward the end of the month. So a very dry period here. So the one thing we'll be watching over the weekend is watching to see exactly what this next storm system does. This outlook, we know it changes, it modifies, it changes every day. The timing could change a little bit. Would not shock me to see a little more of North Georgia get on at least the marginal risk for severe weather. I think it's going to be a sharp dividing line. There's going to be some very gusty winds with this. Expect wind advisories on Monday. I know that's going to be coming here. So just we're going to have an abrupt change in seasons. It's going to feel very spring-like on your Saturday with 70s, and it's going to feel very winter-like by late in the day on Monday and Tuesday. So just get ready. It's coming. All right. Again, appreciate you guys checking us out. Again, if you'd like to become a Facebook subscriber, please go ahead and consider it. It's only $1.99. Again, the more people I can get on board with this, the more they help cover our data fees. Our weather app, I just got the beta test on this. I'm working on it right now. Definitely got to update my website because there are some parts of our website that needs to get intermixed into the app itself. So I got to work on that. And again, if you want to become a member on YouTube, you can do that as well. So again, both pools really help pay for the data fees for what I'm trying to pull off here. So I do appreciate it. All right, you guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you over the weekend. I'll be at Fox 5 on Saturday and Sunday evening. You guys can check me out there. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. You guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.